Greetings from the Executive Secretariat of the Regional Conference on Migration, RCM. It is a great opportunity for the RCM to share with other countries, organizations, and regional consultative processes relevant information about our experience, best practices, and procedures. As part of our outreach efforts, we give great importance to fostering cross-regional cooperation and synergies with similar platforms, such as the Almaty process. We will begin briefly by sharing general background information about the RCM, followed by an overview of some of our best practices and procedures. We will also look into how the RCM budget is formulated and how it is self-financed by the RCM member countries, highlighting some of the key achievements that have been made possible thanks to our member countries' contributions. The RCM, originally known as the Puebla process, was established in 1996. Today, with 24 years of existence, the RCM has constituted itself as one of the oldest and most effective regional consultation processes on migration. The RCM is a voluntary, non-binding, multilateral forum that operates by consensus to provide a space for respectful, frank, and honest discussions among member countries on regional and international migration. As reflected in its motto, fostering and strengthening regional dialogue and cooperation, the RCM has contributed over the years to achieving greater coordination, transparency, and cooperation to strengthen migration governance, including border management, protect the human rights of migrants, promote appropriate linkages between migration and sustainable development, define strategic priorities, and address main migration challenges in the region. The RCM is comprised of 11 permanent member countries with different migration dynamics: Belize, Canada, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, and the United States. Member countries designate focal points in pertinent institutions dealing with migration matters, most often ministers of foreign affairs and governance, so they can attend the meetings and provide follow-up to the issues. The RCM welcomes observer countries willing to contribute to the exchange of best practices or to collaborate on initiatives of mutual benefit. Observer countries can participate in open discussions but do not participate in the decision-making processes. The RCM also includes observer organizations to support key projects, share information, provide technical and financial assistance, and formulate recommendations. The civil society has permanent participation in the RCM through the regional network of civil society organizations for migration. The RCM reserves the right to hold close private discussions between member countries without the participation of the civil society. To achieve its objectives, the Regional Conference on Migration functions under the following structure. There's a meeting of vice ministers, there's a presidency pro tempore, there's a regional consultation group on migration, there are working groups, and there's an executive secretariat. The meeting of the vice ministers is the decision-making body of the RCM. It is attended by the vice ministers of foreign affairs and high-level authorities on migration of the member countries. Face-to-face or virtual meetings are held every year. Extraordinarily, meetings may also be called as needed. The presidency pro tempore is determined by consensus and changes annually. The PPT is responsible to facilitate, coordinate, and share meetings and key activities of the RCM during its presidency. The Regional Consultation Group on Migration is the technical policy coordination body of the conference. Working groups are created to follow up on the strategic plan. They have a specific mandate, objective, and term, which may be extended as necessary. Our Executive Secretariat is based in San Jose, Costa Rica, in the same premises as IOM's Regional Office for Central North America and the Caribbean. The Executive Secretary is appointed for a period of 2 years, renewable for a maximum of 2 years, that is, up to a total of 6 years. The Secretary must be a national of one of the RCM member countries with renowned experience on migration. Last year, the RCM initiated an evaluation process with the aim of relaunching the conference to renew its mandate and guiding principles. As a result of an intense consultation process, a charter and a 3-year RCM strategic plan identifying high-impact actions in the short, long, and medium term was created. The RCM's work and core activities are financed by annual contributions of its member countries, based on the following scale. United States contributes to 50% of the total annual budget. Canada accounts for 25%. Mexico contributes for 20.5% of the total annual budget. The other members of the RCM are responsible for contributing equally to the remaining 12.5% of the total annual budget. The annual budget is approved through consensus. In case there are member countries that have not paid their share for a period of 2 consecutive years, they will have voice but no voting rights. The member countries that continues in this situation for 4 consecutive years will not be able to participate in the RCM meetings until they settle their accounts. Administratively, the RCM operates under IOM's financial rules and procedures. The RCM Executive Secretariat provides quarterly reports of activities and expenditures, detailing the budget execution and the status of the contributions of member countries. In addition to the Executive Secretariat's budget, the RCM has a reserve fund for the assistance of voluntary returns of highly vulnerable intra-regional migrants. This fund was created in 2004 and is directly managed by IOM. The fund supports the voluntary return of highly vulnerable migrants, providing a maximum of $1,000 for each assisted case. As part of the RCM relaunch, efforts will also be focusing on establishing a special voluntary fund to attract contributions by member countries, observer organizations, civil society, and the private sector to fund programs, projects, studies, and activities that contribute to the achievement of the strategic plan's objectives. Over the years, hand in hand with our member countries and partners, the RCM has implemented multiple capacity training activities and promoted regional and interinstitutional cooperation across sectors. Relevant materials have also been adopted and published, such as guidelines and plans of actions on key issues. RCM has also been increasingly represented in discussions with other RCPs and organizations related to migration to disseminate the exchange of information and best practices. After more than 2 decades of existence, the RCM continues to be recognized in the region and afar as a solid platform for dialogue, coordination, and joint actions contributing to an effective migration governance with full respect for the sovereignty of member countries and the protection of human rights. We look forward to continuing exchanging views with the Almaty process and wish you success in the consolidation of this important effort in Central Asia. Thank you.